July 20th, 1969. A man sets foot on the moon for the very first time. It stands as one of humanity's greatest triumphs. The entire world holds its breath, watching a grainy black and white image. Now, let's fast forward just 2 weeks. A press conference. The heroes have returned. They should be glowing. But something is off. Sitting before the cameras are three men with eyes that have lost all light. Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, Michael Collins. Their words are measured, their answers brief. They stare into empty space. This doesn't look like a victory. It feels like a funeral. That stark contrast haunts me. What happened in those 2 weeks? Why did these heroes come back broken? I started digging, and this story led me to even darker questions. Why does space stay silent? What if, to the universe, we're just ants scurrying in our anthill, completely unaware of giants passing by? To understand this, we first need to unravel the mystery of Apollo 11. After the flight, the lives of the heroes fell apart. Neil Armstrong, the first person to walk on the moon, became a recluse. He almost vanished from the public eye. More precisely, he retreated into academia, becoming a professor, but he fled from the press and fame as if they were fire. He refused interviews and lived in solitude until his death. His rare speeches, like the one he gave at the mission's 25th anniversary, were full of strange, cryptic hints that no one could decode. He was not alone. The entire crew avoided talking about the mission. But Buzz Aldrin had it the worst. The second person on the moon fell into a deep depression and struggled with alcoholism. In his book, he described a feeling of total emptiness and loss of purpose. The goal of his entire life had been achieved, and after that, there was only a void. So what could have happened on that silent, lifeless moon to break three of the strongest people on Earth? The answer is not in what they saw there. It lies in what they realized. So there's no conspiracy. No aliens or secret bases on the moon. The astronauts' behavior after returning doesn't come from what they saw up there. It stems from an overwhelming psychological burden. They experienced a phenomenon later called the overview effect. This isn't just a catchy name. It's a profound cognitive shift that happens the moment you see Earth from space for the first time. A window frame, total darkness outside. And there, a tiny, fragile, glowing sphere. Suddenly, it hits you. Everything you've ever known, all of humanity, every war, all love, every story, it's all right there, on that little ball. Borders, nations, conflicts, they vanish. What remains is the stark realization that this is our only home, drifting defenseless through endless void. This experience changes everything. It reveals just how alone we really are. That feeling of loneliness experienced by three people trapped in a tiny capsule points to a far darker mystery. It leads us to a question physicist Enrico Fermi posed back in the mid-20th century. It's simple, but profound. Where is everybody? Think about it. Our galaxy alone contains hundreds of billions of stars, and the universe holds trillions of galaxies. Statistically, many of those stars should host planets like Earth. Even if life is incredibly rare, the sheer scale means the universe should be crawling with civilizations. It should be buzzing with signals, starships, traces of alien intelligence. But we see nothing. The cosmos is silent. This is the Fermi paradox. Trillions of stars point to abundant life, yet we have no evidence that it exists. One answer to this paradox is the unique Earth hypothesis. It suggests that intelligent life, capable of building a civilization, is so rare it might have happened only once in the entire universe. Right here, with us. For all of this to occur, an incredible number of highly unlikely coincidences had to align. Our solar system sits in the galaxy's habitable zone, far from the deadly radiation at the center and the frequent blasts of supernovae. Our sun is surprisingly stable and just the right kind of star. Earth follows an almost perfect circular orbit, giving us a steady climate. But wait, I almost forgot the most important part. the moon. Our massive moon stabilizes Earth's rotational axis. Without it, the climate would swing wildly, making complex life nearly impossible to develop. And it came to be because of a completely random collision with another planet billions of years ago, at just the right angle and speed. The chance that all these factors lined up perfectly is so vanishingly small, it's like winning the lottery with one ticket out of a trillion. And I'm not exaggerating. Not millions, not billions, a trillion. It's a number our minds can't even grasp. We didn't just win the cosmic lottery. We hit the jackpot that happens once in the entire history of the universe. If this idea holds true, it places an enormous burden on us. If we are the only beings in the universe capable of staring at the stars and asking questions, then we are its eyes and its mind. If humanity disappears, so does the universe's ability to become aware of itself. The cosmos would fall blind and silent once again. So, we are a cosmic miracle, a statistical anomaly. But what if this theory is wrong? What if we've been looking in the wrong place? Recently, a small rover on Mars sent back a photo that could change everything. This image was captured by the Perseverance rover. In 2020, NASA sent it to Jezero Crater, a place that once held a vast lake with a river delta billions of years ago. It's the perfect spot to search for signs of ancient life. Then, on September 10th, news came that stopped scientists around the world in their tracks. Perseverance found organic compounds in a rock sample taken from the dried-up riverbed. But this wasn't just any organic material. The molecules resembled those on Earth that are linked to living organisms. Nearby, the rover discovered sulfate minerals. On Earth, these often preserve traces of microbes that lived in salty water. Imagine finding, on a deserted island, not just a campfire, but neatly stacked wood and flint beside it. That's what this discovery feels like. Scientists remain cautious. Organic molecules can form without life, through purely chemical reactions. But the concentration and variety of what we found offer the strongest clue we've ever had. So, have we discovered life on Mars? The answer lies hidden inside a tiny titanium tube resting on the planet's surface right now. And to get it, we'll have to wait. We won't get a definitive answer until the year 2030. Not next year, but nearly a decade from now. That's when a special mission will retrieve the samples collected by the Perseverance rover and bring them back to Earth. Only in Earth-based laboratories can we run the tests that will tell us, beyond any doubt, whether these molecules arose from chemistry alone or from biology. We stand on the threshold of what could be humanity's greatest discovery, but the door won't open for quite some time. While we wait, let's flip the problem entirely. From the tiniest scale to the vastest. There's a hypothesis called cosmic panpsychism. It claims that consciousness isn't just a random byproduct of evolution on some obscure planet. Instead, it's a fundamental feature of the universe itself, something the cosmos gradually unfolds. This is a process of matter growing more complex, a journey spanning almost 14 billion years, to be exact, 13.8 billion, and we stand at its current pinnacle. It sounds like science fiction, but there's a clear logic behind it. It all began with the Big Bang. At first, there was only energy, then the simplest particles, hydrogen and helium. Nothing complex. But gravity gathered these gases into the first stars. Inside their blazing cores, and in the explosive deaths of supernovas, heavier elements formed. Carbon, oxygen, iron, the very stuff we're made of. These elements scattered across the cosmos, coming together again in new stars and planets, including our own. And here on Earth, complexity kept building. Atoms formed molecules, molecules formed cells, and cells formed complex organisms. Then, after billions of years, humans emerged. Astrophysicist Carl Sagan put it brilliantly and simply. We are the way the cosmos knows itself. Just think about that. The carbon atoms born in the heart of a dying star now make up your brain and mine. And those very atoms look through telescopes at distant stars, trying to understand how they work. Matter that formed from simple hydrogen has gained the ability to think about itself through us. This isn't a theory, it's a fact. We don't just live in the universe, we are the universe experiencing itself. From tiny organic molecules in Martian dust to the idea that the entire cosmos might be a single thinking organism, the possibilities are staggering. Yet all these ideas, from microbes to cosmic consciousness, assume we're searching for something inside our reality. But what if the real answer lies beyond it? What if we've already glimpsed its echoes but simply didn't recognize what we were seeing? In 2008, NASA scientists released data that took everyone's breath away. They discovered a dark flow, massive clusters of galaxies, hundreds of them, hurtling at incredible speeds in the same direction, toward the very edge of the observable universe. This motion defied every existing model. Gravity within our universe couldn't explain it. The only viable theory was shocking. Something unimaginably massive was pulling them, something beyond our own universe. It seemed like the first real proof of the multiverse, the idea that our universe is just one bubble among countless others. The scientific community held its breath. It was like finding a bottle washed ashore with a message written in an unknown language. We don't understand what it says, but one thing is clear: we are not alone. Then, in 2013, new, more precise instruments aimed at the same spot in the sky. And they found nothing. No sign of the so-called dark flow. No unusual movement. Nothing. Wait, how could they fail to detect it? Scientists double-checked the data dozens of times. The results stayed the same. Today, the existence of dark flow remains officially unconfirmed. This fascinating story about contact with another universe turned out to be a statistical error. Or maybe not. The question is still open. This story perfectly illustrates our predicament. We're desperately searching for answers. We launch probes into space, like Voyager 1, carrying our coordinates. We listen to the stars with radio telescopes, hoping to catch a meaningful signal. We look for something like us, and come up empty. The Fermi paradox, where is everybody, still haunts us. But what if we're asking the wrong question? What if the solution to the Fermi paradox lies in the transcendence hypothesis? It suggests that truly advanced civilizations surpass us so completely they become invisible and incomprehensible to our senses. They aren't hiding. They simply exist on a level of complexity far beyond what we can perceive. Think of the analogy with an anthill by the highway. A person walks by and might pause to watch the busy insects. But would they try to talk to them? Explain how their smartphone works or the meaning of the stock market? Of course not. Now imagine the ants have invented radio. They send signals into space saying, "We are here! We are intelligent! Respond!" To the person, these signals would just blend into background noise, if they even notice them at all. Their ways of communicating, language, images, abstract concepts, operate on a completely different plane. The gap between us and them might not measure in millions of years. It could span billions. Our radio signals might sound like meaningless static to those civilizations. Their communication could rely on quantum entanglement, manipulating dark matter, or on physical laws we won't discover for thousands of years. They aren't silent. We are the ones who are deaf. And here lies the most unsettling conclusion of all. We don't hear a reply, not because we're alone in the cosmos. We don't get an answer because we're too primitive to make contact. The great silence of the universe isn't a sign of emptiness. It's a deafening buzz of conversation happening at a frequency beyond our perception. We're not part of that conversation. We're not even listeners. We're dust on the floor in the room where it's taking place. We've always looked for them up there, among the stars. But what if we've been looking in the wrong place all along? An ant doesn't need a telescope to find a human. The person stands right above its home. It's possible that these beings, these invisible watchers, aren't in some distant galaxy. They could be right here, among us, all around us. Yet we can't perceive them, just like a two-dimensional creature can't grasp a three-dimensional object passing through its plane. We search for terror in the cold, empty void of space, but the real horror might be that space isn't empty at all. It just doesn't notice us.